All right, fam, welcome back. It is your favorite life and relationship strategist, MarshaunO. Today I'm here because you know what? This actual topic came from me asking a question on my Facebook page, and it basically said, why do you stay in an unfulfilled relationship / marriage? And many people on there responded because of their kids. A lot of people put finances. I live in California. A lot of people in California said something about, the rent / mortgage is crazy for one person. And so they're staying in these unfulfilled relationships. I'm going to address some of the things, specifically the things that I just mentioned, specifically the kids and then the finances. But today I'm going to really address why it could be harmful. And I say it could be because I'm really talking to those women, those men that are staying in these toxic relationships, and the relationship is having a lot of conflict, but you're saying that you're staying for the kids. And so I have 6 questions that I'm going to ask, and really it's just things for you to think about. Is it really worth you staying in that toxic relationship all for the sake of the kids? Are you really staying for them? And if your answer still is yes, and it's not because you are fearful of going out on your own, the finances, etc., if you're really trying to stay because you want the kids to grow up in a 2-parent home, but there is so much turmoil and conflict, and literally the relationship, the marriage itself is toxic. These are some things that I want you to really consider before you say, I'm going to stay because the kids need to grow up in a 2-parent home. So the first thing that I want you to think about is that your relationship with your child can also become conflicted. It also can become toxic because the kids obviously see how you and your spouse are responding to one another. And when there is constant conflict in the relationship, in the marriage, the child themselves has a poor quality relationship with you, and also you have a poor quality relationship with your child. Specifically for you as the parent, is because your energy has been drained. Your energy has been taken away because you're in constant conflict. You're constantly yelling, you're constantly fussing, you're constantly, cussing and yelling at your spouse, at your husband, and your children are not only picking up on that, but when it's time for you to interact with your child as the parent, you are so drained from the constant conflict, from the constant turmoil that you are in and around and a part of, that you cannot show up as their hero. You can't show up as their role model because you're drained. So it harms the parent-child bond. It harms the parent-child relationship. The second thing to think about is your child's psychological triggers and behavioral conflicts later on in their life. It also could lead to your child going from this happy-go-lucky person, little person, to someone who has depression and anxiety and withdrawn from everybody. Or maybe on the flip side of it, they have these external problems such as aggression, ready to fight everybody, and they're non-compliant. All because you wanting them to grow up in a 2-parent household. So now they're dealing with these psychological triggers and behavioral problems. Again, I'm not telling you that you should leave. I am giving you some information for you to think about. Is it worth you staying in that hostile environment and your children growing up in that hostile environment? Which also leads to point number 3, which is your children having poorer academic performance because they can't concentrate. They thinking about how they can get you two to calm down so they can actually live in a stable environment. But they're children. You're the adults. You're supposed to know better. They don't realize this is what's actually going on with them. But you as the parent, you as the adult, I'm just giving you something to think about. Is it really worth you stand there for your children to be in a two-parent household and there's so much drama and conflict in there. Now, obviously, I'm having conversation right now with the parents that are in these situations. Maybe you are two grown adults, specifically that you guys know how to handle not being super angry in front of your children, and they still grow up and be these healthy adults. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the ones who don't know how to communicate. You yelling, screaming, cussing, fighting, all of this stuff, all in front of your children. And the reason why you're staying is because you think it's better for your children for them to grow up in a two-parent household. That's who I'm speaking to today. Think about it. Number 4, your children end up having poor interpersonal skills as well. Because if you and your spouse are the first people that your children interact with, they see how you are handling conflict. They in turn handle conflict the exact same way with people outside of you and your spouse. Think about it. Is your child the troublemaker? Now go deeper. Where did they get that troublemakerness from? They see kids act, they react, and they just repeat the things that they see in their home, in their environment. Are you really being the best role model that you could be by staying in this toxic environment? Conflict day in, day out. The kids are restless, which is why they are having poor academic performance, poor interpersonal skills, psychological problems. Think about how you want your child to truly grow up versus thinking that this is the best situation that you can leave them in. Number 5. I think I already mentioned this, but let me just repeat it again. Your child will become you later on in life. What does that mean? Your child will become an adult and express himself and express herself the exact same way that they seen their parents expressing themselves. So if you are in a toxic relationship, you are the parent. Think about your young child. Well, your young child is not going to stay a young child. Your young child will become an adult one day. And the same way that they see how you handle conflict resolution, they will do the exact same thing. Do you really want your children to grow up and exhibit the same behaviors that you are exhibiting right now? Even if they get with a healthy partner, they still will react this way, and your child will become the toxic one in the relationship. All because you decided, yes, you're making a decision, all because you decided to stay there because you want your child to grow up in a two-parent home. Number 6, the sixth and final thing is that they become emotionally insecure. And then you have a lot of problems with them in their adolescent years. If you have not already started to grow and go through this with your child, at some point you will start to have a lot of issues with your child because you are not thinking about their future. And maybe you are. Maybe you are, but I want you to think about it on a deeper level, that you just staying there for them to be growing up in a two-parent household is deeper than that. They carry around these emotional scars. Just think about yourself and all of the emotional scars that you have to deal with yourself. The things that you wish your parents would have done differently for you. Now it's your turn as the parent to do better by your child, by your children. Finally, before I go, it was a letter that an author wrote, and the title is Why You Shouldn't Stay Together for the Kids. To the mom staying in an unhappy marriage for her kids. You've been unhappy now for a while. It's been so long that you've forgotten what happy looks like. Some people have no idea what you're enduring. On the outside, you two look like a happy couple, but to the people who know you well, they know the full story, and there are no pretenses there. You're unhappy, and it shows. Even when you think you're putting on a good show for the kids, you're not. Even if your children can't put a finger on what's wrong with mommy exactly, they know when their mother is not happy. And most likely, although I know you don't want to hear this, your kids see you in an unhappy marriage, especially the older children who have the outside world to compare your situation to. But because you're a great mother, you stick around in this unhappy situation, believing wholeheartedly that you must be doing the right thing by staying married for the children. You feel by choosing unhappiness for yourself, you are choosing happiness for your children. Besides, how could you do it all by yourself anyway? It would be impossible. You settle for your miserable marriage because you've told yourself it could be worse. They could be worse. You could be worse off. Your kids could be worse off. Although you don't mean to, you're lying to yourself and hurting yourself and your kids. One of the things that they're saying is that your depression could be your child's depression. According to a 2009 report by National Research Council and the Institute of Medicine, parental depression has been linked to the children's early signs of having difficult temperaments and less self-worth among negative factors, which is something that I mentioned earlier, stated a different way. Staying in an unhappy marriage so that your children can stay happy may be completely false. If you are unhappy and for a long period of time, how do you expect for your children to be isolated from your pain? Do you want your children to feel responsible for your sadness? It's not like they will understand the source of this malaise until they are older. Don't do this to them or yourself. It's possible. It's possible for you to run a home by yourself. The person that's writing this says that I was a stay-at-home mother who now is the sole provider for my daughter. It takes time to build your income if you're not already working, but if you take it step by step, it is possible to leave a marriage and manage a household alone. Is it easy? Not in the beginning. No, it's not. And it's still hard sometimes, but so is parenting, and so is life. If you're working, review your personal finances and your marital ones. See how, if it's possible, you can pay down your debts, work on your credit, set money aside. If you're not working, take a look at your former resume. Can a friend help you spruce it up? Look at the job market. Keep tabs of open positions. Do not give up because you haven't worked in a long time. Anything is possible. Have you sought help? Your marriage is bad. Have you two sought counseling? Have you pursued individual counseling? Perhaps there is some hope of making a change in yourself or in your marriage. Only you know. Talking to your partner is the first step. And if you've already spoken to them and they refuse to go, why don't you go alone? Perhaps you may find the courage you need to make good life changes, whether it includes your current partner or not. Pretending it's paradise is wrong. Living each day as if nothing is wrong is toxic for your children. Envision them as adults. Would you want them to view the same situation as acceptable? Would you want them to stay? If the answer is no, you need to remove yourself from the unhappiness as well. Teach your kids that no, this isn't okay. And this isn't what love looks like when it's healthy. The bottom line, no matter what you choose, marriage counseling, divorce, or even your own individual therapy, it doesn't have to be this way. You are in charge of your destiny. Show your children that caring for yourself And your heart is important. So as time goes on, they will do the same. Blessings to you out there who's listening to this and who's gotten to this point. If you are in the toxic relationship like this, start to do the work and look for a way out. If you need help, if you need counseling, you can always reach out to me and I will help you in the best way that I can, as well as point you in the direction if you need to seek further help to get out. I'm praying for you. I'm praying for you. I'm praying for your family. I love you and there's nothing that you can do about it.